Dead Ops Arcade 4 is a bonus mode found within the Zombies menu for Call of Duty Black Ops 7. A lot of people play DUA and don't really know what's happening or how certain core mechanics work. There is a crab that appears in certain levels of solo matches who offers some advice, but a lot of it is very surface level. So instead we're going to have a bit of a Rambo tutorial here, where I'll be going over the basics of the mode, DUA 101 if you will. Everything you should know about the game when playing it for the first few times and beyond. There are a few different playlists and modes within DUA. The 3 modes currently are Casual, Normal, and Hardcore. There are some nuanced differences between these modes, but the names are fairly self-explanatory. If you're brand new to the DUA series or don't have much experience with it, I highly recommend starting with Casual and slowly working your way up. There's no shame in doing that, as playing the other modes first could be discouraging for some players. If you're playing Casual or Normal, you will have the ability to play in either top-down or first-person perspective. Both playlists have their pros and cons. I recommend trying both of them out and seeing which one you prefer. Many traditional COD fans do like the first-person view better, as that's what they're used to playing from other modes like Zombies and multiplayer. But since DUA originated as a purely top-down shooter, and is primarily designed around that perspective, we'll be showcasing the top-down playlist for most of this video, although a lot of the core mechanics are going to apply to both playlists. Games like DUA are what's called twin-stick shooters. You move with the left analog stick, and shoot with the right stick. A common mistake I've seen players make with DUA 4 specifically is that they sometimes use the right trigger to shoot in top down, which is going to offer significantly less precision when compared to using the right analog stick, which can be rotated. So beware of this pitfall. Now let's take a look at the heads up display, also known as the HUD. This information next to your username is going to be very important to monitor throughout the match. Let's start with this lightning bolt icon over here. This is what's called a speed boost. The button associated with this action is listed above the icon. For me on an Xbox controller, it will be the left bumper, although you could customize this button in the settings. Players start the match with 2 speed boosts in their inventory, and can typically hold up to 9 speed boosts at once. If the player has 0 speed boosts at the end of a round, they will be bumped up to a minimum of 1 speed boost at the start of the following round. Speed boosts are a helpful item to utilize when trying to escape a sticky situation, or maybe even when trying to obtain a helpful item that is on the verge of disappearing. The speed boost will allow you to quickly dash across the map, killing most enemy types in your path. When using a speed boost, the player is also provided what's called a shortened invulnerability ring. These are invincibility frames that will briefly protect you from damage, and also eliminate most enemies that come into contact with your ring. The shortened invulnerability ring on this game lasts for 3 seconds. Next to the speed boost icon in the HUD will be your nukes. Players start the match with 1 nuke in their inventory, and can typically hold up to 9 nukes at once. Similar to speed boosts, if the player has 0 nukes at the end of a round, they will get bumped up to a minimum of 1 nuke at the beginning of the following round. Using a nuke will instantly kill almost all enemy types that are currently on the map, allowing you and your team to regroup. Using a nuke will also provide the player a shortened invulnerability ring that lasts for 3 seconds. Speed boosts and nukes are what's referred to as the player's armory. Knowing when to use your armory is an acquired skill that comes with practice. Armory usage is of course crucial to ensuring that you die fewer times and survive deeper into a match. There are ways for players to replenish speed boosts and nukes over the course of a match. Both items can periodically appear as rare items during arena play. Also items such as the white eggs, present boxes, or these destructible crates that appear in certain levels also have a small chance of awarding the player with armory. Every single bonus area in the game has at least a chance of armory appearing, or in most cases there are multiple pieces of armory guaranteed throughout the bonus level. On my channel I have a time-stamped video of all 7 silverback challenges and all 4 hazard zones currently in the game, where I demonstrate how to obtain all the armory and other important loot in those levels. That video will be linked in the description below. In addition to those areas, there are also 7 standard bonus rooms in the game which offer armory opportunities, with the armory in those rooms sometimes being a bit hidden. There are also 2 purchasable items in the Slayer Mart that can provide the player with armory. Booster Pack provides the player with 2 speed boosts, and Nuke Bomb provides the player with 2 nukes. And sometimes these items can be purchased multiple times within the same Slayer Mart, depending on the inventory count displayed near the item. The Slayer Mart first appears after round 15 on normal, and round 11 on casual. There are some fates and upgrades that also allow for additional armory opportunities. Players with the Fate of Furious Feet, which can be obtained permanently in the Room of Fate, begin each new round with a minimum of 2 speed boosts. And the Fate also allows you to hold a maximum of 10 speed boosts in your inventory. Players with the Fate of Furious Feet can also get a Fate-specific upgrade in the Slayer Mart called Feet First, which allows them to have a minimum of 4 speed boosts per round. Players with the Fate of Divine Shield, which can be purchased in the Slayer Mart, begin each new round with a minimum of 2 nukes, and this fate allows you to hold a maximum of 10 nukes in your inventory. Players with the Fate of Firepower, found in the Room of Fate, are eligible for a fate-specific upgrade in the Slayer Mart called Nukemonger, which allows them to begin each new round with a minimum of 3 nukes. There are also 3 nukes that appear atop the waterfall on the Swamp Arena, which appears towards the later stages of the game across all modes. These 3 nukes will remain up there throughout the entire arena until they are obtained. In co-op matches, you are able to donate lives to downed teammates who have 0 lives. In exchange for giving your teammate a life, you will receive what are called life donation rewards, which have a chance of including a speed boost and or a nuke. The Requipment Epic Gobblegum gives you a random combination of 4 nukes and speed boosts. Nowhere But There is another purple gum, with this one providing all players the minimum amount of Armory, which is at least 1 speed boost and 1 nuke, assuming they have 0. And one final way to obtain Armory in this game, let's suppose you have the maximum number of lives, which is typically 9, and obtain an extra life item that appears somewhere on the map. In such a scenario, the game will give you a nuke. If you have max nukes as well, the game will instead give you a speed boost. The soldier icon all the way to the left of the HUD is going to indicate how many lives you have. You start each match with 3 lives, and if you take a death, that number of course decreases. The maximum number of lives that you could have on you at once is typically 9. There are a few ways to earn lives in DOA 4. An extra life item, indicated by this Buddha statue, can periodically appear as an item pickup during rounds, or it could even be found in certain bonus areas. These extra lives can also randomly appear from other items in the game. For example, a white egg or present box has a low chance of producing an extra life, or this golden egg will actually guarantee an extra life if it hatches without being destroyed. There are also these crates in certain levels which can be destroyed, and they sometimes can provide an extra life. Extra lives for the team can also be purchased in the Slayer Mart via the Golden Shower item, with inventory count for this item being sometimes as high as 4 in a single Slayer Mart. The Phoenix Up legendary Gobblegum also provides everyone in the match with an extra life as well. All of these instances of extra lives that I just outlined are what's known as shared lives, meaning that all players in the match will be awarded a life when these are obtained. If the player already has the max number of lives in their inventory when an extra life item is obtained on the board, they will receive a nuke. If they have max nukes, they will receive a speed boost. If they're maxed out on their armory, they will receive either a tank or a chopper vehicle during arena play, or if they're in a bonus area, they will receive a 750 cash bonus. There's also a way for you as an individual player to earn extra lives as well. The player earns an extra life for every 200,000 score earned, and if you purchase the Fated Divine Chalice as an additional fate from the Slayer Mart, you can actually earn lives for every 150,000 score. These extra lives will drop on your head when earned, and can only be obtained by the player earning them. If the player has the max number of lives in their HUD whenever they're due to earn an extra life for the score increment, they will instead be provided what's called a 10th life reward, which is either boxing gloves, coat of arms, or a sprinkler. It is worth noting that players with the Fated Divine Chalice can hold a maximum of 10 lives in their inventory, so I guess then it would be called an 11th life reward. There's also a very low chance of receiving an extra life when donating a life to a downed teammate in co-op matches. Throughout the match, players will discover bonus rooms, silverback challenges, and Slayer arenas. During these areas, you might notice a yellow shield superimposed on your life total in the HUD. This shield indicates that any death taken inside that area will not result in a life being lost or your score multiplier being lost. The soldier icon in the HUD is also used as a way to monitor player health. New to DOA 4 is that in top-down perspective, players will have a health bar appear above their head when damaged, which is typically more practical to monitor when compared to viewing your soldier icon in the corner of the screen. However, in first-person perspective, you cannot see a health bar above your head, so instead you would have to rely on the soldier icon as a way to view the status of your health. Additionally, for both top-down and first-person, the player's screen will be dimmed with a red hue to indicate that you're damaged. The way that the player's health is displayed on the soldier icon is actually the inverse of the way it worked in the previous installment. In DOA 4, when taking damage, your soldier icon will briefly turn red. The amount of redness indicates your total health remaining, with the transparent component of the soldier indicating the amount of health that you lost from damage. After about 3 seconds, the red on the soldier icon will turn to blue, indicating that you're passively healing. As you continue to regenerate health, there will be more blue on the soldier icon that appears over time. When you fully heal, the soldier icon will return to its default state of having a white fill. When players are damaged, they will typically be invulnerable to other forms of damage for a very short duration. This is known as a damage grace period. In top-down, the damage grace period lasts for 1 second, and in first-person perspective, the grace period lasts for 2 seconds. In DOA 4, players have 150 HP. Different enemies and hazards provide varying levels of damage to the player. In normal mode, standard zombies during arena play will kill the player in just 1 hit. In first-person perspective, certain hazards are lethal as well. but smacks from zombies will only deal 67 damage, which is about 45% of the player's overall health, allowing the player to take multiple hits before death and regenerate health over time. When damaged, the default healing rate for players is 2 HP per second. There are a few ways to speed up the player's healing rate, such as purchasing the Youthful Infusion item from the Slayer Mart, which is only available in top-down playlists, or by purchasing the Fated Divine Chalice, with these two items having the ability to stack. Different healing rates depending on your setup will be listed on screen right now. Another way to heal on this game is by purchasing the Light Ray ammo mod from the Slayer Mart, also referred to as Light Mend in traditional zombies. With this ammo mod, killing enemies with your default weapon can produce what are called healing glyphs. These are small green pills that can be consumed by injured players, including teammates, if they're near the glyph. Augments for ammo mods can also be equipped by the player in the zombies menus, and most of these augments will actually transfer over to DOA as well. If you have the ammo mod fully researched, I recommend running these major and minor augments shown on screen. By default, glyphs will remain on the map for 30 seconds before disappearing, and consuming a glyph will regenerate 62 HP, or about 41% of the player's overall health, with the extra strength minor augment equipped. Damage dealt by enemies also varies depending on what mode and playlist you're on. In casual mode, most enemies cannot kill the player in just one hit, as zombies instead deal 97 damage, or about 65% of the player's health. Most enemies found in hazard zones and Slayer arenas also deal less damage compared to traditional rounds. For example, a zombie smacking you in a Slayer arena will only deal 30 damage. Under certain circumstances, players can also obtain armor plates, which appear visually above the soldier icon in the HUD. Armor plates absorb damage and protect players from most enemy attacks, although certain enemy attacks that deal very low damage will not waste a player's armor plate, such as a Disciple using his Strain attack, or an Abomination using its Laser Beam attack. However, certain attacks from higher tiered enemies, such as the Abomination ramming into the player, will bypass the armor plate and instantly kill the player. Armor plates can only be obtained if the player already has an armor vest. There is a level 1 vest that allows you to store a maximum of 1 armor plate in your HUD. Such a vest can be obtained through the Slayer Mart via the Armored Vest item. Alternatively, players can use the Armageddon Gobblegum to receive a level 1 vest, or the Perkaholic Gobblegum to receive multiple rewards, including a level 1 vest. Players can also purchase the Tactical Armor Vest in the Slayer Mart, which provides them with a level 2 vest, allowing them to store a maximum of 2 armor plates in their HUD. Once an armor vest is obtained, then future Slayer Mart encounters will have an armor plate item in the shop that can be purchased. Players with a vest can also encounter an armor plate as a rare item drop that appears during normal rounds. If players use the Armageddon Gobblegum while they already have a vest, it will replenish their armor plates to maximum capacity. And finally, players with the Fated Divine Shield from the Slayer Mart have the ability to purchase a Fate-specific upgrade called Shield Master. This upgrade makes it to where at the start of each new round, your armor plates will refill to the maximum capacity. For example, if you have a level 2 vest, you will receive 2 armor plates per round with this upgrade. If you have 0 lives in a solo match and then take a death, your match will result in a game over. In co-op matches, if one of the players has 0 lives and then takes a death, they will be considered downed and will have to wait 60 seconds before respawning. During this last stand period, the player can slowly crawl around, but cannot perform any other in-game action. The player's last stand respawn timer can be reduced by purchasing the Fated Divine Chalice, or the Places to Be Slayer Mart upgrade, with these 2 items having the ability to stack. Co-op matches will result in a game over once all players are in final stand with 0 lives. When players still have lives and take a death, they will typically have to wait 5 seconds before respawning. With the Fated Divine Chalice, this short respawn timer is reduced from 5 to 3 seconds. Once they respawn, they will have an extended invulnerability ring, which lasts for a period of 9.2 seconds. This extended ring starts off green, and eventually turns yellow to indicate that it will soon expire. Players can also stand over the corpse of a down teammate in order to revive them quicker. For each player standing over a down teammate, an additional 1 second from the respawn timer will be shaved off, for every real second that passes. Players with the Fated Divine Chalice also have the ability to revive teammates significantly faster as well. For every second that a Divine Chalice player stands over a down teammate's body, 6 seconds are removed from the teammate's respawn timer. That's a 3 times quicker revive rate compared to other players. This Chalice revive bonus does not apply when reviving a teammate who also has Chalice, as instead it will be the standard revive speed that any other player would have. Although, having 2 or more Chalice players reviving a teammate who does not have Chalice is going to allow you to revive that player very quickly.
Jesus.
In casual and normal modes, players also have the ability to donate lives to downed teammates in order to bring them back to life, in exchange for a combination of random rewards, also known as life donation rewards. Players can manually donate a life by pressing up on the D-pad while a teammate is in final stand. When donating a life, the donor will receive a shortened invulnerability ring for 3 seconds. If there are multiple players downed at once, the life will be donated to the downed teammate closest in proximity to the donor. After round 80, life donations will become forced on the team, meaning that players will automatically donate their lives to downed teammates if those players continuously die, unlike the first 80 rounds, where donating is entirely optional. Also, after round 80, there is a mechanic referred to as the one life safeguard, which prevents your lives from being auto-donated whenever you only have one life remaining. As mentioned before, players donating a life to a downed teammate will be eligible to receive a random set of donation rewards. On screen right now will be a list of the rewards you could earn for donating a life. Players with the Fated Divine Chalice also provide life donation rewards to the player being donated to, although their reward pool is a lot more limited, as the life recipient cannot receive boxing gloves or armory. Also worth noting that the recipient of Chalice donations will only receive donation rewards whenever the donation is manual, as any auto donations after round 80 do not provide rewards to the player being donated to. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like. Thanks for watching.